He doesn't like India to be called Hindustan, he wants India to be called Hindudom, etc., etc. Around page 78 to 83, there is a very interesting discussion on the book. Very interesting discussion in the book, where he tries to say India, only those belong to India who not only treat India as Matra and Pitra Bhumi. It is not enough calling it motherland or fatherland, which most people do. He only belongs to India who also consider, you can read this all very clearly in black print there. He says only those belong to India who also consider it to be a Punya Bhumi. That is, in other words, unless you deify the land called India, you cannot be an Indian. In other words, the deification of the land is a prior condition to being an Indian. This is what Savarkar is writing. Therefore, he very explicitly says there are people whose sacred places are outside of India. So they can never consider India, however much they may consider it as a Matra or Pitra Bhumi, they can never consider it as a Punya Bhumi. And he says those are Christians and Muslims, but then he also says Christians have become harmless, the dangerous element in India are the Muslims. Anyway, I don't want to go into that. This is the ideological foundation of the politics of Hindutva. My fear is that this judgment is dangerous because it endorses the position that was taken by the Hindutva forces throughout 80 and 90. What the forces tried to do was to, first, this is very interesting, what they tried to do, Hinduism has always been a religion without a boundary. This is the only religion in the world in terms of dogma which does not have a boundary. If you ask me as a Muslim, or ask any Muslim as a Muslim, what is it that defines a Muslim? He can tell you 5 doctrinal principles, 3 doctrinal principles, which he will say you have to be a Muslim. That you have to believe in monotheism, that you have to believe in Prophet Muhammad as not only a prophet of God, but as the seal on prophethood, etc., etc. He will say a few things. There is likewise with the Christian. I can be Hindu without believing in anything. Which is good thing or bad thing, I do not know. But what I am trying to point out, it's a very different kind of a religion. I may believe in God or I may not believe in God and I still can be a Hindu, because if you look at the philosophical treatises of Hinduism, there is a treatise on what you call on atheism as well. Within the 9 schools of Hindu philosophy, you have a whole book on Charvakas. So you have, it is a religion which cannot be defined. This is where I will end up with. Gandhi and Savarkar had a very interesting debate. And this is where I end up with. Savarkar, and this is a very long debate. Gandhi, interestingly, had some very extended debates with a lot of his contemporaries on a whole range of questions. He had a huge extended debate with Shankaracharya. He had a huge extended debate with Savarkar, etc., etc. In this debate with Savarkar, Savarkar was insistent on Gandhi defining what is Hinduism. Gandhi, in his own way, refused to define Hinduism. Refused to define Hinduism. He said, I will not define it, because it cannot be defined. Gandhi, I cut it out and tell you something very simple. Gandhi said, the moment you define Hinduism, you will set a boundary around it. That definition will provide a set of boundaries around it, which will become then exclusionary of a whole lot of things that Sanatana Dharma is always represented. Savarkar picked on to that and said, this is precisely what is wanted. This is precisely what is wanted, a boundary within which Hinduism should be militarized and India should be Hinduized. This was the agenda of Savarkar, this became the agenda of RSS, this became the agenda of Hindutva. This is the politics that the Babri Masjid tried to legitimize and endorse, and it is one of the most dangerous, divisive politics that this country had ever seen. And this judgment is dangerous because it is indirectly an endorsement of that. Thank you.